We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order. In order,
Big brother, big brother, big brother is watching you.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
it is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause.
And for the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
A new world order, and I don't think we can possibly overstate that. Not only is Donald Trump different from the establishment Republicans we have seen over the years, but there is a new world order in the Congress.
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
I feel like when I told my family that I was Jesus, that they were not ready for that message.
So who are you?
I'm Jesus Christ, man.
So
The second coming of Christ.
The second coming of Christ.
Fresh wind! Fresh!
They are some of the most popular TV preachers in the country.
We're family here!
They urge the faithful followers to donate generously, and in return, the Lord will bring them prosperity.
I'm not going to be going to heaven and be broke when I get there.
And there's no denying some people have prospered handsomely.
Wow!
6 of them have been investigated by the U.S. Senate, like Paula White, who lives in multi-million-dollar homes in New York City and Tampa, Florida. And Creflo Dollar. He gets around in style, flying in private jets to preach around the country. He owns this mansion in an exclusive Atlanta suburb.
Mr. Dollar, how do you
Not one of them would agree to an interview about their opulent lifestyle.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
North Korea is a situation that should have been handled 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and 5 years ago, and it could have been handled much more easily. We are totally prepared for the second option, not a preferred option, but if we take that option, it will be devastating, I can tell you that, devastating for North Korea. That's called the military option. If we have to take it, we will.
See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places.
First we have is from Global News. This is a video out the window there, and you can see what looks like smoke rising. This is in Mexico City proper.
All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many.
Representing the four corners of the earth. They'll raise him up right now. He now is raised up from a commoner to a kingship. Come on, raise it up. He's no longer a commoner. He's not on the earth. He's raised from earth into a heavenly realm. He's raised in a prophetic position. He's released by God. He's released by God. He's released by God.
He's released by God.
Bishop Eddie Long, the head of a megachurch outside Atlanta with some 25,000 members. And now 2 of them say he had sex with them when they were just teenagers.
And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Whom shall he teach knowledge?
That's a question, right? Who is the Lord going to deal with and teach knowledge? Let's read.
And whom shall he make to understand?
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
People are now living in fear.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. Then, if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled.
First of all, the integration of national economies into a global economy. That's here. That's done.
One of the greatest overseeing authorities that you can have today is who controls the internet. Because whoever controls the internet controls and can limit what you say. Now keep in mind that almost all business transactions on the entire planet are internet-based. So whoever controls the internet directly or indirectly controls the world's economy. So this is one step away from global financial control.
The United States is often referred to as the father of the internet, and since its inception in the late 1970s, the U.S. has virtually monopolized the development of all new web-based technologies, and for the most part, defines and controls the technology and laws that govern banking systems, financial transactions for all web and retail-based business, and permits freedom of speech, which is protected under the U.S. Constitution. One would think that a nation with such influence over the internet would continue to retain as much control as possible. But through behind closed doors discussions between the U.S. government and outside influences, the United States has recently decided to give up that control to a private organization called ICANN, which most believe will be influenced by globally cooperating and overseeing authorities like the UN.
If your actual speech is no longer under the control of the laws of your country, it's moving toward a one-world government.
What we got here?
Cam, this is William Klein. He was wrecking an office.
But I just wanted to meet them face to face. I wanted them to admit what they were doing.
Who is they? He was in the office of the Trilateral Commission.
Trilateral Commission. Trilateral Commission. Trilateral Commission. Trilateral Commission.
Yeah, the Trilateral Commission.
All right, what is the Trilateral Commission?
It's an organization founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller to bring together business and political leaders from the United States, Europe, Japan, so they could work together for better economic and political cooperation between their nations.
Well, that's what they'd like us to believe. But you see, what they're really up to is a scheme to plant their own loyal members in positions of power in this country, to work to erase national boundaries and create an international community, and in time bring about a one-world government with David Rockefeller calling the shots.
I had a friend, Nick Rockefeller, okay, who was one of the Rockefeller family, and he, when I was running for governor in Nevada, he came to me, introduced himself to me through an attorney, and we became friends. We started talking about things, and I learned an awful lot from Mr. Rockefeller. And one of the things that we used to talk about was the ultimate plan of the banking industry, what they wanted to accomplish. And the goals of the banking industry, not just the Federal Reserve System, but the private banks in Germany and England, all over Italy, all over the world, they all work together. They're all central banks, and they're all part of the Communist Manifesto. You know, central banking is one of the major planks of the Communist Manifesto. We talk about America being a capitalistic country, but yet at the same time we have a central bank that plans everything for us, right? And the graduated income tax is another plank of the Communist Manifesto, right? So right there you have two major planks of the Communist Manifesto that have been brought in because of the Federal Reserve System.
Okay, Mr. Klein, if you just... I'm telling you, our whole way of life as we know it is in jeopardy.
I appreciate that information.
But I have the documented evidence. It's all in there. Show him. The whole master plan is exposed.
Yeah, well,
You're still not convinced, huh? Would you like to hear the names of just a few of the people who have been on the Trilateral Commission?
not particularly.
James Earl Carter. Heard of him?
Look, Mr. Klein...
Henry Kissinger. You heard of him? Walter Mondale.
Mr. Klein, this is
John Anderson. George Bush.
Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order can emerge, a new era, freer from the threat of terror, stronger in the pursuit of justice, and more secure in the quest for peace. An era in which the nations of the world, East and West, North and South, can prosper and live in harmony. 100 generations have searched for this elusive path to peace, while 1,000 wars raged across the span of human endeavor. And today that new world is struggling to be born. A world quite different from the one we've known. A world where the rule of law supplants the rule of the jungle. A world in which nations recognize the shared responsibility for freedom and justice. A world where the strong respect the rights of the weak.
Now, you remember at the convention, everybody thought it was going to be Ford for Veep. You know what happened? David Rockefeller just picked up a phone, put in a call. Hey, Ronnie, forget Jerry, it's George. Bye. So, no matter who won in November, they had their man in the White House.
Administration. This is a new world order, and I don't think we can possibly overstate that. Not only is Donald Trump different from the establishment Republicans we have seen over the years, but there is a new world order in the Congress.
We can control our weather.
This wasn't a malfunction. It was intentional.
Our constitutional journey did not stop then, and it must not stop now, Judge. And we'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that.
Next great American project, and that's what we're calling the Brain Initiative,
is the whole area of artificial intelligence. Or some people would express it as simulation of cognitive behavior.
I can see you and hear you. I can sense your environment, and I can respond to your emotions. I guess you could say I'm putting a human face on artificial intelligence.
And here we are now, 4 weeks later, and with the release of the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10, it's even worse than I thought. And George Orwell, the author of the famous book 1984, he himself would be blown away by the advancements in the telescreen technology. And no, Hillary Clinton, the moral of the story of 1984 is not that we should trust the government and the media, you doublethink hag. No, the lessons you should have learned from 1984 is that Big Brother, aka governmental surveillance, has nothing to do with protecting the individual, but rather it has everything to do with monitoring the masses as a whole. So you see, first Apple had to get you used to giving over your fingerprint in order to unlock your phone, which ultimately goes into the database of the NSA. The next phase is to track your face with facial recognition just by looking at your phone. And at this rate, guys, it's really not hard to imagine what might be coming next.
Rectal exam complete. You may now eat your breakfast.
We're really not that far off from that, folks, and unless we reject these incremental steps towards this Orwellian nightmare now, they'll continue to march us down this road to enslavement, and on top of that, they'll charge you exorbitant amounts of money to do this to yourself. The facial recognition technology used in these new iPhones is currently being used to both unlock your phone and to also control in real time emojis that can then be sent in messages. 30,000 data points are projected upon your face, mapping every single detail, tracking your movements, the variations in your eyes and facial expressions, and therefore, tracking, tracing, and databasing your moods, emotions, and yes, even intentions. But what if you don't want to unlock your phone in a particular person's presence? Like a police officer, for example. What would stop him from putting you in handcuffs and holding that phone up in front of your face in order to unlock it? And what about the retinal scanning and biometric mapping of our eyeballs? Is that information going to be categorized and stored on a database? As we recently warned in this video, The Race for AI exposed how transhumanism technology is leading the third revolution in warfare, I outlined the fact that man is slowly being merged with machine. And this is being sold on the notion that it's going to provide convenience, that human beings will be stronger and faster and smarter. But the truth is, the goal here is to turn us, freedom-loving individual human beings, into easily programmable robots that answer to Big Brother and to the state. Getting you used to looking at your phone and it looking back at you, and the two of you just looking at each other, is all a part of this transhumanism agenda and the merging of AI machines with man.
More now of our special coverage here tonight, life in the U.S. in 10 years' time. By that time, there may be all kinds of new ways to safeguard and identify all those things that make each of us unique, our faces, even our fingerprints, even our eyes. Here now with more on the future of technology, NBC's Tom Costello.
The year is 2017. You're rushed to a hospital unconscious with no ID or medical history, but thanks to a microchip under your skin, it's all there. Science fiction 20 years ago, but a biometric reality today.
The technology is based on answering one simple question. Am I who I say I am?
Already, fingerprints and iris scans verify passenger identities at airports. Within 10 years, that technology may be even more widespread. And look for more complex facial recognition programs that scan a crowd of thousands looking for a single terrorist. Today's facial recognition software starts with the eyes. Then it maps out the contours of the face and compares that against a database of millions, a database that's growing by the day. What's next? At the University of Bath in England, researchers predict big changes for consumers.
I think it is possible to free us completely of our wallets and keys using biometric technology, if that's what people want in 10 years' time.
In fact, it's already here. The latest home security locks use fingerprints to control deadbolts. And at the Jewel Osco grocery store in Chicago, some customers pay using their fingerprints. No paper or plastic.
You don't really need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.
So will future department stores scan our irises, like in the movie Minority Report, then offer products catered to who we are?
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap.
Experts say that technology is here now. The challenge is to safeguard our privacy in a brave new world. Tom Costello, NBC News, Alexandria.
I'm Brooke Alvarez. Let's get right to our top story tonight. Congress today reauthorized funding for Facebook, the massive online surveillance program run by the CIA. According to Department of Homeland Security reports, Facebook has replaced almost every other CIA information gathering program since it was launched in 2004.
After years of secretly monitoring the public, we were astounded so many people would willingly publicize where they lived, their religious and political views, an alphabetized list of all their friends' personal email addresses, phone numbers, hundreds of photos of themselves, and even status updates about what they were doing moment to moment. It is truly a dream come true for the CIA. It is truly a dream come true for the CIA.
It is truly a dream come true for the CIA.
Much of the credit belongs to CIA agent Mark Zuckerberg, who runs the day-to-day Facebook operation for the agency. The decorated agent, codenamed the Overlord, was recently awarded the prestigious Medal of Intelligence Commendation for his work with the Facebook program, which he has called, quote, the single most powerful tool for population control ever created.
Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
The most powerful nation on earth is set to betray its citizens, with new mandatory revisions to citizenship and constitutional privacy.
A system touted as a national security necessity is being used to build a database where the biometric identity of millions of Americans will be gathered and stored.
We're meeting with the president in order to formulate legislation that would require every person in the United States of America who is employed to carry a biometric identification card with them.
We will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. For years, Congress has required biometric entry-exit visa tracking systems, but it has never been completed.
Smart devices are everywhere. In your hand, on your walls, on your desktop, in our cars. But what about inside our bodies? IBM planted a seed years ago with this commercial. A shady young man perusing a grocery store at his cameras, and a beefy security guard looked on. Rather than arrest the young man for shoplifting, the officer says,
"Excuse me, sir. Forgot your receipt."
Checkout lines. Who needs them?
Have a nice day.
This is the future of e-business.
Just a few years later, Scott Silverman, the CEO of Applied Digital Solutions, appeared on NBC News to present his company's new technology to the world.
You have one in your arm right now.
That's correct.
Where is it?
It's in the upper right arm. It's a simple injection process, just like getting a shot of penicillin.
Is it painful?
Not at all. They numb the area slightly. You don't feel it. They put a Band-Aid on it. Within 2 days, you don't even know it's there.
And can we, I don't know.
A tiny RFID microchip about the size of a grain of rice. However, at the time, the public wasn't ready to accept the device, and Verichip was bought out, and the technology became the interest of hobbyists and technophiles. Today, there are countless accounts of young people voluntarily receiving the chip as an injection. One such man partnered the device with Bitcoin and became a walking, talking e-wallet. Now, Visa is dipping its toes in the water by partnering with the University of Technology, Sydney.
The future of payment, it's very important that we move away from solid cash and we move more towards different ways of paying. Everyone wants an easier lifestyle when it comes to payment. I think Visa are just trying to make the world more fluid in their transactions, trying to connect a lot of people around the world, and it can be done instantaneously.
And he's not alone. In Microsoft founder Bill Gates' annual letter, he mused, quote, "The key to this will be mobile phones. Already in the developing countries with the right regulatory framework, people are storing money digitally on their phones and using their phones to make purchases as if they were debit cards."
In my administration, we will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, It will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
Therefore be ye also ready. For in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh.
Take your throne, baby, you royalty. Lift your head, come back home, brother, you royal. Power to the chosen people, who at one point wasn't viewed as an equal. His own chosen people, a royal priesthood. Royalty, royalty, royal, royal. At one point wasn't viewed as an equal. His own chosen people, royal priesthood.